You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, authorities take one man into custody after finding stolen property and a large amount of methamphetamine at a home in Carl Junction.
Now, temperatures aren't too impressive on this Thursday morning yet, but the Daily Almanac says we're going to challenge a record dates back some 50 years. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, we take you inside a South African lab where scientists race to learn more about the Omicron COVID variant. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. One man is in custody after authorities find stolen property and a large amount of methamphetamine at a home in Carl Junction. Detectives with the Ozarks Drug Enforcement Team served a warrant at a home in CJ after what they call a long-term investigation. They found several stolen items on the property, including a stolen pickup out of Cedar County, a UTV out of Kansas, and a camper out of Jasper County, and several trailers. Odette detectives also found a large amount of meth in a camper on that property. The J.M. Smucker Company announces it sold its dry dog food business located in Frontenac, Kansas. Diamond Pet Foods bought the business in a deal that the company says is worth roughly $33 million. In a press release, Rob Ferguson, Sr. and VP and General Manager of Smucker's Pet Food Division says, quote, "This divestiture enables us to focus investments and resources on areas of our pet food and pet snacks business positioned for growth and profitability." The company did not say how the deal would affect employees at the Frontenac plant. On Wednesday at McDonald County Schools, kids were breaking the rules, wearing hats in school. They were allowed to do so because they donated at least $1 to the county's Shop with a Hero program. That program matches a child in need with an area first responder to go shopping for Christmas gifts.
Shop with a Hero is to me an amazing community event that involves both the schools and all the first responders in our area, and then also our families. So it is the true epitome of what a community is when they come together and support one another.
McDonald County's Shop with a Hero program usually serves around 140 kids, but because of an increased need this year, the department is setting a goal to serve 200 families. Social work students at Pitt State showcased their hard work. The Community Project Showcase on display yesterday was a chance for students to present how they've been helping members of the community, ranging from foster children to veterans.
With this project, my main help was to raise awareness for it. And so with these veterans that are already in housing units, I help them by collecting items that could be donated to them for household use, like toilet paper, paper towels, paper plates, silverware.
Social work students at PSU can now pursue a master's degree through a partnership with KU. And now that it is December, it might be time to start thinking of ways to weatherize our homes. And experts say it's not just something to do in the winter months. Economic Security Corporation's weatherization unit says there are things we can do now and even year-round to prepare homes for all kinds of weather. They tell us one tip that could save us a lot this winter.
We call them low-cost, no-cost energy-saving tips. So one of the things is to turn your thermostat down 5 degrees and maybe wear a little more clothes. So turning it down 5 degrees can save you between $150 to $250 a year on your heating bills.
You can find more information on the services the Economic Security Corporation provides on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, the residents at Spring River Christian Village in Joplin have a new festive display. Yesterday, the senior living facility hosted a lighting ceremony for its Village of Lights. Area businesses were able to rent a space in the display to advertise. The city of Joplin also became a little more merry and bright. Missouri Southern lit up its Christmas tree and lights outside the Student Center in an event called Southern Lights. The university also offered carriage rides, arts and crafts, and a photo booth.
This is definitely a family event. This is probably the event where we have most of our families come out to, like our non-traditional students that have a family. This is definitely the most popular event for them because their kids can enjoy it as well. It's definitely another great aspect of this event.
Southern Lights event was also a chance for students participating in the school's Angel Tree program to pick up their gifts. Well, People magazine announces 2021's People of the Year. on Wednesday. Now, this year's list includes country music legend Dolly Parton, actress Sandra Oh, Olympic champion Simone Biles, and a group of America's teachers. The honorees will appear on 4 unique covers in one year-end special double issue celebrating individuals from different walks of life who have made an impact on American culture, who were forces for good in the world during the most challenging years of this century. To see more from the People of the Year issue, you can pick up the new People on newsstands nationwide this Friday. For more video, just go to peopletv.com or download the free People TV app.
Yeah, pretty impressive list right there. And as far as the top 3 go, all making huge commitments financially and also emotionally to their causes. Dolly Parton donated $1 million to COVID research, which even some scientists said played a large part in them being able to kind of fast track that and make it a success. Then you had Sandra Oh raising awareness against Asian American hate and violence. And then, of course, Simone Biles with what she went through at the Olympics and her raising awareness of mental health issues, especially when it comes to younger people who we just expect them to go out and perform for us entertainment-wise and forget sometimes to ask them, hey, kid, how you doing?
When I think of Dolly Parton, I think of my children's bookshelves. And half of the books on there are from Dolly Parton's
That's very
Imagination
interesting
Library, too.
because when this came out yesterday, I thought for sure that Dolly Parton was going to be recognized for her literacy program. But no, it was
That's
actually
not
for
why.
$1 million donation to find a COVID vaccine.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
pretty amazing right there by those 3 individuals. Daily Almanac for this December the 2nd. We're looking on the top panel. 74 degrees, dates back to 1970. That's at Joplin Regional Airport. Seeing if we can break a record here by the time we get into the afternoon hours. Even though we've got the skies being illuminated just a tad bit, we haven't seen much of a change in temperature. Joplin at 53, Carthage at 52, been there all morning long. A whole bunch of 40s in southeast Kansas. Much cooler down to the south, especially in northeast Oklahoma, where Miami's at 36 and Grove only at 35. But you get sunrise over Joplin here in 7 minutes. And I'll tell you what, we're going to have a nice little warm up because we don't have a cloud in the sky and actually don't have anything in the entire Midwest to worry about. Now, that being said, we do need just a little bit of rain to at some point in time kick in. We're too dry. We're still dangerously dry, especially when we talk about temperatures that are going to creep up above 20 degrees above normal for this afternoon. But we're going to talk, number one, record temps for Thursday and Friday. Then we can talk a little bit about some rain that begins to formulate late Saturday down to the south. Don't let it change your Saturday plans, but it'll be Saturday night into Sunday morning. It'll be light scattered. Not everybody will pick up rain, but then Sunday, after the rain rolls through, yeah, there we go. We're back to December weather, dropping below the freezing point for Sunday night into Monday morning.
Can't beat that. It's going to be nice today. I love it. Up next, nearly 40 million people around the world live with HIV, but scientists have a new treatment to battle the disease. We'll take a look. Later, a woman watches as a hawk swoops down and tries to grab her dog.
No, Halle Berry, no!
Whoa, if you've got small pets, you don't want to miss this. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Nearly 40 million people around the globe live with HIV. And just last year, 680,000 people died from AIDS-related illnesses, and that's according to the United Nations. But there is hope. On this World's AIDS Day, which was yesterday, as scientists have a new treatment to battle the disease. CBS's Ian Lee reports.
Every day, Jonathan Blake's routine starts here. He's lived with HIV for nearly 40 years and has to take these pills to keep the virus at bay.
When I was originally diagnosed, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. Just a death sentence.
But antiviral drugs with his morning coffee may be a thing of the past.
The key benefit is offering choice. Treatment for HIV in itself has been one of the big successes of modern medicine.
More than 1 million people in the U.S. are living with HIV, and until recently, their only treatment option has been a daily cocktail of drugs. But at Queen Mary University in London, Professor Chloe Orkin and her team have developed a way to replace some of those pills with an injection 6 times a year.
Taking this to the next level and reducing the treatment days from 365 to 6 treatment days a year is a real paradigm shift and a new breakthrough.
The UK's National Institute for Health found her shot was just as effective as taking all those pills. The injection has also been cleared for use in the United States. And for Blake, well, he's just in awe at how far treating HIV has come.
Basically, I've been given 6 months to live. But now, I mean, there is this plethora of effective medication.
Which means HIV patients aren't just surviving, but able to live a fuller life. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
And on this World AIDS Day, Pope Francis has called for a renewed commitment to guarantee efficient and equitable treatment for parts of the world that lack essential care. Scientists say the world's first living robots can reproduce. These are xenobots, and they're less than 1 millimeter wide and formed from the stem cells of the African clawed frog. Scientists unveiled the living robots in 2020 when they noticed they moved, worked together in groups, and self-healed. Now scientists say they can also reproduce. The xenobots use kinetic replication, which has only ever been seen at the molecular level. Here's how it works. Xenobot collects and compresses tiny loose stem cells together. After a few days, they mature into offspring. Scientists say this is still considered very early technology, but it could eventually be used for collecting microplastics in the oceans, inspecting root systems, and regenerative medicine. And ultimately, Michael, taking over yours and my jobs.
No, sure. All of this, that's
This
justification.
is where it starts.
It's justification that they're going to clean up the oceans and save the turtles.
And
Let me tell you what they're going to do.
This is reproductive AI technology.
Let me tell you how this works. It comes to the point where I got to go find Linda Hamilton in the future and bring her back, and she ends up going after this thing that can replicate, and she's got an injured arm, and I can't get into like the violence that ensues after that. Go watch the original Terminator if you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Linda Hamilton's the only one that can save us from this. I'll probably grab Keanu Reeves on my way back from the future just in case I need somebody to like do that.
Little Matrixin.
Right, because somebody's going to have to save us.
You have to be specific which Keanu Reeves you want, because you might get like the bad actor Keanu Reeves. You need to pick him from a good movie.
You love your John Wick.
Oh, I love John Wick.
I could go combo John Wick's Last Matrix.
What was it called? Feeling Minnesota? Do you remember that movie?
Yes, that's not the one that I want.
No, we'll leave that one on the shelf.
Although Linda Hamilton, a great action hero right there.
Hey, when are we going to watch Die Hard?
Well, I mean, when Christmas rolls around. Hello?
It's December 2nd.
Live look over 7th and Rangeline, 53 degrees. Wind starting to die down a little bit. It's only going to roll between 5 and 10 miles per hour today. Our temperatures down south, they just won't change in that little cold bubble that we have, as Miami's at 36 and Grove right now at 35. So we're just kind of stuck right there. As far as our temperature change test goes down to the south, we've actually got double-digit decreases compared to what we're seeing up to the northwest, where it's about 5 to 10 degrees warmer. Skywatch Storm Tracker remains clear as can be. No troubles whatsoever, and that sunshine is eventually going to lift us up into the 70s. Do want to point out here, down to the south, this is very, very interesting, and that what we're seeing is a whole bunch of Gulf moisture finally begin to move in. It'd be nice if we could get just a taste of this. Now, at the same point in time, we don't want these expansive dense fog advisories that they have, but it does go to show you that our abnormally warm temperatures that have resulted in critical foul weather, well, we're just about done with them. But we're going to get 2 days of wonderful temperatures and a whole lot of sunshine here for the next couple of days. And let's challenge records on Thursday and Friday. Now we can talk about our Gulf moisture for Saturday night into Sunday morning. A little bit of scattered rain, not widespread, nothing severe, and then a cold front behind that on Sunday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. It's been just more than a week since the Omicron variant was first reported in South Africa. Now, healthcare workers in that country are racing to learn more about it. David McKenzie visited a lab in Johannesburg that's studying this new variant.
After tracking COVID for many months at this lab, Janine Duplessis is bracing herself. Have you seen a lot more positive cases in the last few weeks?
Yes, we have.
First a trickle, then a flood. At the Vida lab, they're studying a disturbing variant of an old foe.
It's still too early to actually tell. There's so much that is so unknown about the variant. Everyone feels a little bit of hopelessness in a moment like that.
This lab is really at the coalface of the COVID response. You know, they're expanding so fast, they're putting their samples in freezers right here in the hallway. They come in shifts, and as this wave develops, they'll be operating 24 hours a day. They know how bad it gets. This was Delta's awful impact in Johannesburg. In July, patients stacked in hallways, struggling to breathe, in exclusive footage obtained by CNN. At the Vida lab and all across the globe, they're trying to understand whether Omicron is more transmissible, deadlier, whether it breaks through existing COVID-19 vaccines. What does it feel like that the entire world is hanging on this discovery that was figured out here initially?
Yeah, so I mean, it does feel a bit sort of surreal when you watch the news and you see the impact it's having globally, and you're thinking, wow, you know, it's sort of affecting stock markets and and airlines and people's travel plans. You know, you kind of don't plan on having that sort of ripple effect.
A spike in cases first happened in Pretoria, with a cluster infection at this technical university. But hints of a new variant were first detected by scientists and pathologists at Lancet Laboratories. In early November, they spotted a strange anomaly in their positive PCR tests. Then it happened over and over again. It reminded them of tests for the Alpha variant, first detected more than a year ago in the UK. What was it like to see this anomaly cropping up again?
Well, it was a bit disturbing because made us worry that we were dealing with something new. And because it coincided with an increase in positivity rates, it made us worried that we could be dealing with a new variant.
Lancet urgently notified South Africa's genomics team. Within days, they described and made public disturbing details of the highly mutated virus. Much of the world shut off travel from southern Africa. And scientists here say they are now struggling to fly in critical reagent for their lab work to understand Omicron.
We'll be right back with this morning's four-state hero right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero. Roger Barnett served in the U.S. Army. From 1991 to 2005, a native of Oswego, Kansas, Barnett was stationed in Iraq. He was nominated for 2 Bronze Stars. We're proud to thank Staff Sergeant Roger Barnett, today's four-state hero. Well, if you have a small pet, this is a story you're gonna want to hear. A woman in Texas watched as a red-tailed hawk swooped down to try and grab her chihuahua. And the whole thing was caught on camera. Janelle Bludow has a look at that video.
Just 4 pounds and 12 weeks old, wrapped up in a white fur coat, little Lola is cute, cuddly, and very curious. But that little pup's young life was almost cut short last week.
I didn't even see it until it was already right on top of her. That's how fast it happened.
There she is outside in the front yard.
There was nothing I could have done to have stopped it because I didn't see it until it was already, she would have already been gone.
When a red-tailed hawk suddenly swooped in and tried to grab her.
It felt like he was right there and just, it was so fast. It just happened so fast, and then I honestly thought he had gotten her.
Luckily, Mom was just a few feet away.
I don't know if it's that she ran so fast or that it saw me.
And the hawk was unsuccessful. As for hawk attacks, the Wildlife Center of Texas wants pet owners to know while they can happen, they say it's rare.
It's a possibility that the hawk could have grabbed the dog and could have done some damage, possibly even killed the dog, but this is a very rare occurrence for hawks.
And say owners should stay careful at all times because predators can come in many forms.
All kinds of wildlife and also domestic pets, like if a large dog was off leash in the neighborhood, that's obviously a threat for that small dog, and that's obviously more likely also.
A threat that sadly Catherine knows firsthand. She says her other pup, Cassie, a 14-year-old Chihuahua, was killed last year by the neighbor's dog.
She was at their fence barking, and the other dog from the hole that they had dug reached in and grabbed her and took her and mauled her to death.
She says they see hawks in Siena all the time.
Terrible in our area.
So she's protective to begin with, but with this most recent attempt,
watch them like a hawk.
Lola's never leaving her sight.
Aww. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Facebook says Belarus officials employed fake accounts to stoke the migrant crisis at the Polish border. And one state makes the move to replace gas mowers with electric, and experts believe other states could do the same. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. Let's take a look at today's top stories. One man is in custody after authorities find stolen property and a large amount of methamphetamine at a home in Carl Junction. Detectives with the Ozarks Drug Enforcement Team served a warrant at a home in CJ after what they call a long-term investigation. They found several stolen items on the property, including a stolen pickup out of Cedar County, a UTV out of Kansas, a camper out of Jasper County, and several trailers. Odette detectives also found a large amount of methamphetamine in a camper on that property. Wyandotte County, Kansas officials say a man who barricaded himself inside a home shot 2 children and a woman before shooting himself. The Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office says the suspect and one of the children died after the shooting at a Kansas City home yesterday. The officers responding to a shooting at Wellborn Park found a woman suffering from gunshot wounds. The suspect ran away and later barricaded himself inside the house. When officers entered the home, they found the suspect dead and one of the children dead. The woman and the other child are now in the hospital. The J.M. Smucker Company announces it has sold its dry dog food business located in Frontenac, Kansas. Diamond Pet Foods bought the business in a deal that the company says is worth roughly $33 million. In a press release, Rob Ferguson, the senior VP and general manager of Smucker's pet food division, said, quote, "This divestiture enables us to focus investments and resources on areas of our pet food and pet snacks business positioned for growth and profitability." The company did not say how the deal would affect employees at the Frontenac plant. Dr. Lee Norman, who led Kansas through the coronavirus pandemic until his abrupt departure last month, said he was Fauci'd out by COVID-19 politics. Governor Laura Kelly announced on November 19th that Norman had stepped down after serving as the health department's top administrator since the governor took office in January of 2019. But in an interview with Kansas News Service, Norman says he was asked to resign. He cites constant friction between the governor and the Republican-led legislature and compares himself to Dr. Anthony Fauci, the federal government's top infectious disease expert. A Tulsa, Oklahoma man is hospitalized and is in police custody after police say he shot an officer. Investigators say the man believed his wife was cheating on him during a trip to Houston. He reportedly threatened to kill her when she returned home. She contacted police and they escorted her to a car at Tulsa's airport. At that point, police say the husband opened fire on the car. The wife and a man, identified as her brother, drove away as police chased the suspect into a parking garage. He shot an officer in the chest before police shot him in the foot. The officer was wearing a bulletproof vest and is expected to be okay. The woman and her brother are cooperating with the investigation. Tulsa's airport was reopened after a brief early morning shutdown on Wednesday. Residents at Spring River Christian Village in Joplin have a new festive display. Yesterday, the senior living facility hosted a lighting ceremony for its Village of Lights. Area businesses were able to rent a space in the display to advertise. And now that it is December, it might be time to get your home ready for colder weather. KOAM's Bronte Saratsky spoke with a weatherization expert on the most cost-effective ways to get your home ready for winter.
As winter approaches, colder temperatures are on the horizon. Experts say it's best to start preparing for them now.
You just never know in Missouri when the weather's going to turn. We're weatherizing all year round, but we definitely have people calling in now with asking for these low-cost, no-cost tips, and I would definitely get going on it before the cold weather hits.
Brian Peterson is the Director of Weatherization for the Economic Security Corporation in Joplin. He says that after how cold winter was last year, it's important to take measures to ensure you can keep yourself warm this winter. And they offer services to do that at little to no cost.
A lot of people, even though they thought they were prepared, they weren't prepared. So definitely, take all the measures you can to be prepared.
Measures such as leaving your faucet dripping or keeping cabinets open.
That will help the water lines in your house to not freeze. So leaving them dripping, and it's got to be a pretty consistent drip. But yeah, leaving the cabinet doors open, allowing heat to get in there, maybe some portable space heaters in the bathrooms or areas that are secluded.
If you are worried about keeping your home warm this winter and don't know where to begin, Peterson says they're here to help.
We provide a low-income weatherization program. We operate at 200% of the federal poverty level as our income guidelines. So we encourage everybody to get in an application.
With new federal money from the recently passed bipartisan infrastructure bill, Peterson says they're encouraging more people to apply.
There was money for weatherization in that. So we will be getting a pretty significant influx of money, and we're looking to ramp up our waiting list. So if you think you might qualify, we encourage you to apply.
In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
One of Peterson's biggest tips to keep energy costs low this winter is to turn your thermostat down 5 degrees cooler. It can save between $150 to $250 a year. While the Christmas season is filled with lots of joy and cheer, for some it can bring up feelings of loss and grief. So we spoke with a mental health expert at the Ozark Center Hope Spring facility. She has a few tips. First, find a safe place to share your feelings with others who will understand. Also, take care of yourself physically. Staying hydrated and healthy, practicing a sensible routine can rejuvenate you. And another important tip, don't shy away from your emotions.
Ourselves permission to feel our feelings. There is no rule book. I think that's another reason that grief is so misunderstood and feared, is because nobody really wrote a handbook on how to manage it.
Another tip, turn off social media at night and try reading a book instead to reset before bed. Well, raise your water bowls high and toast to the mixed breeds of the world. Thursday is, and that's today, National Mutt Day. If you don't have a special mutt in your life, it's a great time to find one. The special day is celebrated twice a year, December 2nd and July 31st. What? Yeah, it's got 2 days. The days help raise awareness of the plight of the mixed breed dogs in shelters. There are millions of smart and healthy mutts in shelters just waiting for someone to give them a forever home. Consider opening your heart and home to one this holiday season. I know the foster program is big, and if you aren't ready or able to adopt right now, shelters are always in need of donations and volunteers.
Why are we doing 2 national days of things a year? Why are we doing 2 national pie days? Why are we doing 2 national mutt days?
Because dogs are awesome and pies are wonderful.
You enjoyed that, didn't you, Carrie? You like that?
Come on, Michael. You love dogs.
I do.
And I know you like pie.
I do. And one national day a year. I think the world of you. Do you get 2 birthdays?
I should. No, because I'd be really old by then. Yes, 2 birthdays. One to go a year older, one to go a year younger, and then you never change.
No, we could go to Alice in Wonderland during the tea party.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me which pill I wanted to take.
Whoa there, Grace Slick. Hang on there.
Little Jefferson airplane there.
Oh. And remember, folks, the one that Mother gives you doesn't do anything at all.
Yes. And cut to weather.
And Dylan, give me 7th and Range Line now, please.
He's dying.
I was dying a slow death right there. 53 degrees over 7th and Range Line, so we haven't had much movement. But just wait, we're going to go mid-70s. We get up to 74. We tie the record at Joplin Regional Airport that dates back to 1970. Speaking of Jefferson Airplane, we'll be back right after this. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, supply chain and its impacts. Now, despite supply chain issues continuing into December, the White House feels that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Back in October, President Biden made a decision to allow ports to remain open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On Wednesday, he praised private sector port operators for eliminating fees for truck drivers picking up containers either at night or on weekends. Well, then the Omicron variant came, and whether the latest COVID variant poses a threat to economic recovery, that remains to be seen. In the meantime, several leading retailers say they are seeing progress. Our question for you this morning, has the supply chain affected you? Right now, 61% of you say yes, you've gone to the store looking for something on the shelf and it hasn't been there. And congratulations to the 39% that say no, it has not affected you. Maybe a question we should revisit here as we get closer to delivery time for the holiday season. The U.S. Secretary of State announces the United States is preparing new sanctions against Belarus for what it calls using migrants as political weapons. This comes as Meta, you'll formerly know it as Facebook, says that Belarusian security officials use dirty tricks to fuel the crisis at the Poland-Belarus border. Donnie O'Sullivan has the latest.
Facebook says it has evidence the Belarusian KGB set up fake accounts on its platform designed to look like activists and journalists, stoking tensions at the border between Belarus and Poland. Here's what Facebook says these accounts were doing. They said these fictitious personas posted criticism of Poland in English, Polish and Kurdish, including pictures and videos about Polish border guards allegedly violating migrants' rights. And also to make these fake accounts look realistic, Facebook said, the Belarusian KGB had used pictures generated using artificial intelligence. So faces that appeared to look like they belonged to real people but were actually generated by a computer. Now, interestingly here, Facebook also pointing to a separate set of accounts run from Poland, run from inside Poland. And these accounts posed as migrants, telling and trying to encourage other migrants not to come into the European Union, not to come into Poland, pointing to neo-Nazi groups in Poland as one reason why people should not try and cross the border. Facebook not saying who is responsible for those accounts, not tying it to any particular group or government. They said they have not been able to determine that yet. But what we see here, of course, is how both sides are being played on these platforms and how easy it is to covertly run these campaigns online. Donnie O'Sullivan, CNN, New York.
We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
This holiday season, it's a
Millions of Americans own gas-powered lawnmowers, but that could be changing. One state is making the switch to electric mowers, and experts believe other states could eventually do the same. Anthony Pura explains.
David Hernandez is with Sod and Turf Pros in Los Angeles and has used gas-powered equipment for years. He understands electric tools are the future, but there are pros and cons.
You won't be having all that gas up your nose, be inhaling it, because I mean, I've been there, I've done that.
One trade-off is usage time. He bought an electric leaf blower, but has to operate it sparingly.
It doesn't last as long, right? So we use a battery, it only lasts me like 20, 30 minutes. And then after that, I have to go charge it.
Homeowners are snatching up e-powered products, but it's a harder transition for lawn care companies running lots of devices all day. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill into law making California the first state to ban the sale of gas-powered lawn equipment by 2024 in an effort to curb emissions. Lawmakers supporting the ban say the gas-powered equipment produces high levels of pollutants that impact human health, emissions that can lead to lung cancer, heart disease, and respiratory problems. According to the California Air Resources Board, using a commercial gas-powered lawnmower for an hour creates the same amount of smog-forming pollution as driving a car 300 miles from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. USC environmental law professor Robin Craig says other states could follow.
We'll see how manufacturers react. I think the easier that manufacturers make it for other states to adopt the same sort of ban, the more states will do it.
Hernandez and consumers can still use their gas-powered lawnmowers in 2024, but any brand new equipment purchased will have to be electric. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Los Angeles.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Many have served.
Movie and music news, including your chance to own a piece of Hollywood history. David Daniel, he's our man with today's Hollywood Minute.
So that means it could be up to 5 guys up there? It's possible.
If you thought John Travolta looked cool in Pulp Fiction, now you can wear his suit. The Perry Ellis original is part of Julienne's Auction's Icons and Idols Hollywood auction. Other items include the custom surfboard Patrick Swayze used in Point Break, David Thewlis's wand from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, even the accordion played by polka queen Vlasta Krisic in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The auction is December 2nd and 3rd in Beverly Hills and online. More info at juliennesauctions.com. 2 in a row for Trevor. Comedian and Daily Show host Trevor Noah is returning to host his second straight Grammy Awards. The 64th annual Grammys are scheduled for Monday, January 31st.
A deja vu is usually a glitch in the Matrix. It happens when they change something.
The latest trailer for The Matrix Resurrections may seem familiar, as it mixes scenes from the first 3 films with new footage. Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss return in The Matrix Resurrections, due out December 22nd. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Sometimes what we do on TV, and I think you all know this, like it's morning show shtick is what I call it. And then sometimes things just happen organically. Like what just happened right there when Grace Slick started singing during the Matrix trailer. Folks, we did not know that that part was coming, to the point where, I don't know, control room, did you see me? Just like throw my hands up in the air like, is this happening? Is this truly going on right now? Wow. Let's get to the glow cloud. Just have my mind blown. Never mind what Mr. Anderson decides to take there. All right, as we transition to 7th and Rangeline, we have not warmed up a bit, but just wait, because by the time we get to the noon hour, we're going to be looking at 70s. And here we are on the 2nd day of December. That's right, 70s. Skywatch Storm Tracker, clean and clear as can be. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't need a little precipitation, because we could actually use some, but we're really not going to be able to hang on to any of that until we get to, say, Saturday. So we're going to roll mid-70s today, overnight, consistently in the 50s. We'll probably see some high 40s thrown in there as well, but won't have any of the 30s that we do right now. And then as we put Future Track into motion, after 2 warm and dry days, finally on Saturday, and it's not going to be here until Saturday night, but at least we begin to see a little Gulf moisture begin to creep up. So we'll go scattered rainfall Saturday night into Sunday morning, temperatures mid-60s, then the cold front hits us Sunday night into Monday as we drop below the freezing point. We'll be back and wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The CDC is searching for more Omicron infections after the new coronavirus variant was detected for the first time in the U.S. on Wednesday. A patient recently visited South Africa and became ill after returning to California last week. Experts say it's still unclear if Omicron spreads more easily or is more vaccine resistant than other strains. A 15-year-old Michigan boy accused of killing 4 fellow students at Oxford High School is now being charged as an adult. Ethan Crumbly was arraigned yesterday on charges that included first-degree murder and assault with intent to murder. If convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. Major League Baseball enters its first work stoppage since 1994. Team owners voted to lock the players out yesterday. Their collective bargaining agreement expired at midnight this morning. Let's check in with Michael with the final lecture forecast. I'm still saying it's not a big deal. We don't have any games scheduled for December the 2nd or December the 3rd. Get this thing done by February. It'll be fine. It's interesting though. I won't get on a tangent. Almost record highs. We got a chance to break record highs for today and tomorrow. Remember, rainfall Saturday night into Sunday morning, and then a cold front Sunday ushers us back to December temperatures next week.
All right, Home Alone fans have a shot at renting out this house from the movie for one night this month. How cool would this be? Airbnb says it will open booking for the Chicago area home on December 7th. The stay is scheduled for the 12th. Nabbing the overnight will likely be difficult, but the stay only costs $25. This offer coincides with the release of a new movie in the series called Home Sweet Home Alone. If you're too young to remember, Home Alone came out in 1990. It featured Macaulay Culkin as a young boy left to protect his house from two buffoonish burglars.
I would honestly just walk around the house yelling, "Kevin!" That'd be perfect. You walk around doing that, and I'll actually go to O'Hare and I'll yell Kevin.
Oh, that would be so awesome. How many rooms? I want to know how many rooms are actually in that house.
Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. More news and weather at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.